if you think that prison is working, shame on you.
Like, the worst thing that can come out of this is not the time apart. It's you losing those good qualities, you losing yourself because of this horrible situation.
1 in 3 people incarcerated, held in solitary confinement, were found to have some type of mental illness.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Love Within Walls, a Prison Wife podcast. It's your friendly host, Gigi here, and I'm here with...
Your friendly host, Paige. Hi, friends.
Hey, guys. We're on episode 23. J's on my feet. J's on my feet. J's on my feet.
So get like
So
me.
get like me. And we are here today because we have a lot of stuff to cover today. And we also have our interview with Lele. That will be coming up soon. So she is one of our MBI couples that we interviewed, sharing her story and her journey through the trial, the incarceration process, everything with us. And we'll get to that a little bit later, but let's go ahead and start our potty pod. But before we start, we have our sponsor. We got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Beyond Bars Imaging. And let me tell you, Paige has made a Facebook page for Beyond Bars Imaging. And she has put all of her awesome work on Facebook, y'all. Oh, I need my soundboard. Jeez, I'm not even ready. But check it out. Hit her up, because I'll tell you what, our Love with the Malls Facebook group is filled with the gorgeous pictures as well that Paige has done, and the incredible work she's done to make couples photos by merging or taking pictures and taking out the prison stuff. And we need to tell them about your little TikTok video that you made, which was really awesome. Tell them about it.
I made it. It's on TikTok, and it is on Instagram, and it's on my new Facebook. It's just like a quick little shortened behind the scenes version of how my AI editing goes. And I did a quick little look. It's definitely not perfect, but it's just putting me and Joe from our prison visit picture into a wedding picture. So definitely check that out.
A garden wedding. It was so cute. I loved it. And keep in mind, like, people like me who have no clue how to do this, it's so interesting to see the process that you go through and the work you put in to make these pictures look the way they do, because they look so real and they look amazing when the finished product is there. So check out Beyond Bars Imaging on Instagram, and also follow Paige and like Beyond Bars Imaging on Facebook and TikTok. I'm going to give her a shout. Oh, my volume. There we go.
Period.
All right. Sorry, y'all. My volume was low. All right. So are we ready, Paige?
We're ready.
All right. Legislation. Paige, what you got?
Well, I came across an article that someone wrote, kind of just bringing light to all of the reform that they're doing at San Quentin in California. Okay. We haven't really talked too much about the specifics on this pod, so I was like, this is probably a good one for me to talk about, just to bring light for other states that don't have prison systems like this, and maybe they can pick up from it. And also just to add that although all of these things are available at this one prison in California, no one can go there that is sentenced to LWOP. So although there's all of these, new things, being these new programs and ways of treating people that are incarcerated coming out, it's not something that Joseph will ever be able to experience, because they do not have an electric fence. And only LWOP is going to go if there's no electric fence. Only them. So yeah, that's my sarcasm, anyone who didn't hear it. So I kind of summarized some of the things in this article instead of reading the whole thing. Basically, background for anyone who doesn't know about San Quentin: it's California's oldest, most notorious state prison. It's undergoing significant changes through an initiative called the California Model. It was rolled out by Governor Gavin Newsom last year. The new approach aims to transform prison life, taking inspiration from Scandinavian and Norwegian models, where they focus on rehabilitation and recovery rather than punishment. Little backstory. So some of the key changes that are happening at San Quentin right now, there's a cultural shift. Guards now greet people that are incarcerated with respect. They use terms like residents. They are fostering positive interactions. So they're not, saying, inmates, it's time for you to feed, like they do at some of these prisons. There's improved conditions. Basic amenities such as toilet paper are replenished proactively, reducing the need for prisoners to request them. So you never have to worry about running out of toilet paper because it's provided for you. Rehabilitation focus, expansion of the job training, substance use treatment, and social interactive programs. The prison is to be transformed into a rehabilitation center with new facilities, including classrooms and incarcerated-run coffee shop.
I love it.
That's amazing. And
this is how prison should be.
Yep.
Make prison great again. And even though it wasn't never great, but like the little hat we had.
Let's follow the Norwegian model,
clearly they're doing something right over there.
I
love this.
Their recidivism rate is very low because they don't punish their people that are incarcerated. And then, of course, the last one, the death row changes. The death row unit was emptied with the condemned men transferred to other prisons, allowing for a greater focus on rehabilitation there at San Quentin, because prior to that, that's where they housed all of the people on death row.
Can I ask about the death row thing? So I saw that some county AGs, attorney generals, were overturning or changing, not overturning, but commuting the death sentences, and some weren't. So what do those people do if they're technically were on death row, but their attorney general does not want to vacate their death sentence?
That would be a good thing to maybe look into, because I don't know.
Okay.
All I know is that everyone was moved and it didn't matter, who.
Yeah, I have a friend whose loved one was at San Quentin and now he's at Pelican Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know if his death sentence was completely vacated or not. I don't know if that was just something done by the governor or that has to be done by the attorney general.
It'd be good to look into, because now I'm curious.
Okay, I'm writing that down. Y'all, I'm writing it down.
They said a few challenges other than obvious money being a challenge. There is resistance from many of the prison staff. Go figure. They don't feel that the new approach is necessary, and they feel like it's compromising their safety. And then the prison population's complexity and size in the California end, at least, poses an additional challenge compared to the smaller Scandinavian systems, because they don't have a mass incarceration problem like we do.
Yeah.
Success stories, the positive social interactions are being encouraged through events like chess tournaments, sports tournaments, breaking down barriers between staff and people who are incarcerated. So they're literally having staff flag football games against the people who are incarcerated, or basketball games. That's so crazy and awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it shows that it can be done.
And I'll say this, it's done in Louisiana. Our death row, they do that. And, we don't have an issue really with them being rude to our loved ones back at I will, me, I'm going to praise it when it needs happening. I've only had one instance where someone was disrespectful to Michael, one in the 8 years that I've been going. And for the most part, their death row has completely changed in Louisiana. They're no longer on 23-1. The cells are open. They have hall hours. They can go on the yard twice for 2 hours each, so 4 hours total. And they get to they do these tournaments where they play other people in the prison, or they play the COs. And it's just, people are like, oh my God, you're playing with death row. Oh my God. And it's like, it's so therapeutic for both of them to form rapport between the two and have a good friendly game. Like, I love it.
To think that death row, like for anyone, especially people that are incarcerated, to think that death row is like the worst of the worst is just not even true. It's not.
It's not. There's people out in population that were like the Jeffrey Dahmer of the Bayou, and they're sitting with on population being a trustee. Whereas my husband, his crime is not anything like that. So just keep in mind, there are people on death row that they're and compared to people in populations crimes, they're not even that, like, I hate saying they're not that bad because that's not the right way to say it, but they're the body, like, there was one guy in population that has a 25 to 30 body count, and he's not on death row, y'all. So I'm just saying that sometimes when you think of death row, the moniker is just like the worst of the worst, and it's like, no, it's not true. Like, there are people that are serial killers out in population that do not have the death penalty. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's all based on how much money you had at the time of your trial.
And all the people on death row had, can you guess? A PD.
Yeah, no money.
Public defender.
But at the end of this article that I found that was just talking about it, it just pointed out the successes of the California model at San Quentin and how it'll be crucial in rolling these changes out to other prisons, not just San Quentin, throughout the state. And the initiative aims to prepare people who are incarcerated to reintegrate into society, promoting a more humane and effective prison system. And I just do not know how anyone could be opposed to that, especially when we see repeat offenders of, smaller crimes keep going through that revolving door. Like, we have to change something.
I just want to, like, sometimes get it in people's heads, like, what we're doing is not working. And if you think that prison is working, shame on you, because all it's doing is perpetuating a vicious cycle that can be changed if you just open your mind to it.
Open your mind, open your eyes.
Sorry, I'm doing my TikTok dance over here.
I know exactly what one you're talking about.
All right, sorry, y'all. But that's amazing. Huh?
I'm done now. That was it.
Okay, well, I have one out of the Garden State of New Jersey. New Jersey. All right, I had it, and that, of course, you know me. I have it, and then I lose it. Here we go. Got it. All right. This was from Reform on the Instas. Big reforms passed in New Jersey. New Jersey Governor Gov Murph has launched a groundbreaking clemency initiative, setting a national precedent for justice and redemption. The process prioritizes review of survivors of domestic, physical, and or sexual violence, addresses steep trial penalties, and establishes New Jersey's first clemency advisory board to ensure impartial reviews. Why is this such a big deal? Well, clemency traditionally has been handled on a case-by-case basis. This new approach recognizes the injustices, that injustices are often systemic, and it prioritizes groups who have been unfairly treated, speeding up the process for them while still thoroughly reviewing each case. Well, what does this mean for New Jersey? Many new deserving people in prison or on probation have a fair chance at freedom. Thousands with past criminal records can get a fresh start. While it doesn't guarantee clemency, it ensures faster, fairer reviews based on individual progress and rehabilitation. This helps reduce unnecessary incarceration, ending mass incarceration, and allows more people to reintegrate into society, work, and lead fruitful lives. Obviously, this sets a major precedent. Hopefully, other states can follow. So, good job, Governor Murph, New Jersey legislature, and whoever else had a hand in this. Congratulations. And also to California for trying this Norwegian model as well. I think this is the way you can see the success in giving second chances and treating people like human beings and taking into account, especially with this New Jersey reform, taking into account the things that they have experienced, because trauma can lead to behaviors that can be detrimental or without, not realizing the consequences of things. So just amazing job, New Jersey and California. So that was a long one up with that, but I love it. I'm here for it. All right. Do you want to talk real quick about Gilo Day? Because that's coming up.
It is.
That's coming up in 2 days. In 2 days.
Yeah.
August 8th.
That's true.
So.
2 days. Basically, Gilo. What is it? I always do this wrong.
I say Gilo because I just like saying
I think
Gilo,
that's right.
but...
I think that's right.
Okay.
Gilo Day, basically, every year on August 8th, the creator of Pelly Post, Becky, her and her son went down to wherever you got to go in the courthouse, I guess, probably, to get it officiated and make it official. What'd you say? Official like a whistle or
official like a referee with a whistle.
And it is now an international holiday. It went from Love Your Inmate Day to Gilo Day, and now it is celebrated by us out here. Our loved ones on the inside can celebrate it, and it's supposed to be kind of one day where we can love our loved one, show love to our loved one, and have no shame behind that, because there shouldn't be. But it's one day kind of created specifically to show them some love and admire them and
share your love. I mean, that's really what it boils down to.
Yeah, without any kind of restrictions. Stigma. Or the invisible ones, or people are all the time, why do you make your husband your personality? What? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just talking about, people
suck.
Show your love.
Show your love. Showcase your love on Gilo Day. And Pelly Post does also have some what is it? What's the word? The words are escaping me today. They're
gonna have amazing sales.
They do, and they also have some like raffles. I don't know if it's raffles or if it's like
to win things, things.
Yeah, like you can win stuff. So check out their Instagram, because they have like contests and different things that they're giving away that you could, use for your loved one, because their whole purpose is to bridge the gap and keep those connections strong and be a company that thinks about the people on the inside and us here on the outside. All right. All right. Up next, we have our mean tweet of the week. Wait. Ours is not so much a comment, but right before we recorded this pod, Paige and one of our beautiful members of Love Within Walls, shout out to our girl Des. They were both on TikTok Live, and I counted. I wasn't on the whole time. Keep in mind, they were kind of almost like halfway through when I had finally got on. And just from me being on halfway through the TikTok Live, I mean, it was at least, if not more, I would say 10 to 12 people asking the same question. And I finally had to comment and say, yo, this is rude. What they were asking was, well, what did your husband do? What did your husband do? What was his crime? What did he do? What did he do? And they were trolling basically Paige's TikTok to try to find it. Even when they came back and said, well, I couldn't find what he'd do. So what did he do? What did he do? And I was like, y'all, stop. Can we stop asking what he did? Like, it's rude. Like, I'm not going to go up to so-and-so that I don't know and go, what did your man do? Like, it's just, people don't know. Get it. No.
Their nosiness just takes over, and the arrogantness, and like, what difference does it make if I tell you? Nothing.
Yeah. It's like a sense of entitlement now that you're on TikTok Live and you're talking about being a prison wife.
They think we owe it to them to say that. Why?
Yeah.
It's on my page. If you really care that much, you can find the TikTok where I say it. Otherwise, I mean, what difference does it make? You know what I mean? Everyone, the state knows, like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone who needs to know knows. So I don't know why I need to explain his crime to other people if I'm not even talking about that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we weren't. We were literally just sitting. I was like doing my hair. We were like talking, you know? So it's just like,
Yeah.
people
They
make
just,
me angry.
yeah. So, hey, just a quick reminder, friends. If you don't know the person, you don't ask intrusive questions. And this is just social common sense. It doesn't matter if they're in prison, it doesn't matter if they're out here, it doesn't matter if they're a police officer. You don't ask very intimate questions that if you don't know a person, I mean, I feel like I'm having to give a social lesson here. Like, it doesn't
It's
matter
just
who
not
they are.
nice.
Yeah, it's not polite. You sound like an ignorant asshole.
But they think that they ate, though. They really think they ate. Like,
You're
when they
not
say
cooking.
things. Like, no one is cooking in here.
You're not cooking.
No.
Okay.
The stove is off. Like, it is.
So just letting you know, hey, social cues, because clearly we're missing social cues. These are not polite things to ask people that you don't know.
The sad
Just
thing
because
is,
they are on TikTok live does not give you an excuse to ask intrusive questions that you feel you're fucking entitled to.
the sad thing is that everyone who's listening to this is already very much aware and wouldn't do those things for the most part. So it's like,
I'm preaching to the wrong people.
right?
I know.
But they would listen anyway. Whatever.
Take my information and send it out into the universe to people that are basic, ignorant people.
Yeah.
So. Just stop.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving into our mini topic for today. Something that came up that was brought to Paige was this is actually from one of our viewers, listeners, correct, Paige?
Yeah, I wouldn't put names because I don't know if she wanted.
Yeah. No, of course not. But she brought up the idea of talking about interracial couples and dealing with the racism that interracial couples face. So I thought about this because I actually had an ex-best friend who was in an interracial couple, and I know several prison wives that are in interracial couples. And Paige and I were kind of going back and forth about this, and I was getting Paige steamed up. She was ready to rage.
Mm-hmm.
And I I was like, oh, Paige, okay. But I will say this in the South, and I know we have a very racial, there's a lot of still, even in fucking 2024, there's a lot of racial tensions. I will say this though, seeing couples visit in Angola that are, not interracial versus interracial couples get a lot more flack from COs. And for the most part, the only kind of interracial couple that I've experienced is a white female and a black male. And so I've seen how they treat the incarcerated individual. Some COs just haggle them a lot more. They ridicule them. They don't like what they're seeing. They might feel threatened. I don't know what the reason is, but you see a lot more couples, especially incarcerated. Well, I'm going to say this. Let me just say this in general, because I told Paige this. In the South, you see more interracial couples out here in our world get hassled all the time. I hate saying that because I wish it didn't happen. I don't care who you love, as long as you loving somebody, great.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But in an incarcerated situation, you can see it. It's like you have, and the problem is, as a visitor watching this happen, I can't intervene because, penitentiary code, you don't get involved in other people's business.
Mm-hmm.
But you see how people are treated when they have a biracial, when they're a biracial couple. Does that say biracial? Interracial? Sorry.
I don't
my words.
know what I would do. That would be really, like, I'm so glad I've never been in that situation because I'm like, oh my God, it's so like
And then you
it's
would think,
2024.
I know, you would think 2024, we're still here. We're still here. This is what we're doing. Okay. Um, Most of y'all may not know, but I mean, Mike, I mean, I'm gonna say this. I'm Hispanic and Mike is white. Even though my friends tell me I'm the whitest Latina ever. And I probably am. So it doesn't bother, I don't get hassled at all. But if you see the majority here, especially in the South, is going to be African American and white mixed like couples. That's where you see the most hate. And you see like,
if we're going there, me and Joseph are too.
that's true. That's true. Because he's Mexican.
Mexican. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm as white as they come, y'all. You can see through me on some days.
So they don't ever give y'all any issues, right?
No, okay. I mean, if they have, because of that, I'm an idiot and I've totally,
you know. But you can see, because when I went to visit, Mike and I were in the same visiting room as another couple, and the COs would just come in and like stand next to the table right where that couple was. They didn't give a shit about me and Mike. They only focused on that couple, and they would come in and like pull the guy out and talk to him in the hallway, and like and my friend actually started crying because she got emotional, and they pulled that guy out into the hallway and gave him hell for making her cry. And it wasn't even like he said something wrong. It was just this was her first visit, and she was just emotional.
Yeah.
So it's something that needs to be talked about, because in our world today, this should not be happening. Unfortunately, it happens a lot, especially in incarcerated situations.
Yeah, I feel like especially down south too. Like, I don't want to say it's not happening everywhere, because I'm sure it is. It's unfortunately, but I know of one situation where like even marriage is a really difficult process for them, because they are an interracial couple, and it's like, I don't know why like a prison would think that they have any like say over that, but they do. And they think they do, I should say, but they will do what they can to make your life complicated or hell until they get what they want. So that's their own little way of doing it.
Yeah. And I know a couple, well, I don't know them personally, but I've heard from friends of mine. They're going through the marriage process, and you know, he's incarcerated here, and she's not from here. So they are giving them a run for their money and giving them all kind of like, you know, well, we're not going to do this. We're going to, you know, like just making them jump through a lot more hoops than they would a couple that was of the same race. Like, they don't have a problem if you're the same race. It's when it's interracial, it's like total, like they can just feel like they can mess with you. And I just don't understand it. I've never understood it.
I think everyone needs to mind their business and leave everyone else's relationships alone.
Yeah. My thing is, if there's two people that love each other, I don't care what color they are. I don't care what ethnicity they are. I don't care what belief system they have. I don't care what gender they are. I mean, y'all, like, love. This is when we say love is love, we mean it for everything, for incarcerated people, for couples that face racism, like for everybody. Love is love. Let people love who they want to love. As long as they're not hurting you, what's the deal? Is them getting married, an interracial couple in a visiting room, hurting you and harming you? No, your pride is you feel like your pride is or something. Yeah, get over yourself. It's not your relationship.
Like, you think she's going to marry you if she doesn't marry this man? Because no.
Yeah. It's just, I'm going to calm down, because I get worked up, and because I've seen it happen, and it's just, I just don't understand how we're in America, supposedly the greatest country in the freaking world, right? That we say, and we're not, clearly, for a plethora of reasons. And I'll argue with you all day if you want to talk about that. But obviously incarceration is one of them. But the fact that we are a nation we believe in freedom, we believe in equal rights, we believe in all of these things, and we still have this hateful mindset.
Yep.
I'm gonna chillax, y'all. I'm gonna chillax. I get so worked up. I just don't understand how people that argue about freedom give interracial couples still shit. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'll get off my stuff. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Paige, did you have anything else you wanted to add? I'm sorry, because you were the one that was talking to this lovely person.
Yeah, no, just that, just to bring attention to it and talk about it, and just, you know, although it is an uncomfortable thing to talk about, especially not agreeing with it, it is important that we talk about it and bring light to it, because it is unfortunately something that is still happening and still something that people are dealing with right now.
Yeah, currently, presently, sadly. And what was I going to say? Oh my God, brain fart.
We even had our, you know, our amazing guest.
Episode. Our guest that's coming
Lele
up.
And Rashawn, they are an interracial couple, and they, you know,
yeah,
I'm sure I've had to deal with their own.
Well, she mentions even in the interview something about that. Yep. So I know she's dealt with it for sure, especially in the South, because she's out of North Carolina. So I'm sure she's dealt with it too. But if you have your own
let us know.
Experience with dealing with COs and being an interracial couple in the prison system, or even on the outside, and you want to share your insight, please hit us up. Please DM us, but we would love to hear you on the Squeaky Pipes, or comment below. We'd love to hear your voices, and we love to showcase that. And because you guys, you know, you're the reason we're here. So if you have experience with this, or seen a situation like this, hit us up. Go to our link tree. You can find all of our wonderful links for Squeaky Pipes, for DMs, all of that. All right. So now it is time to get into our interview with Lele. Hey, everybody. Welcome to our little interview, our prison wife interview with Lele. We have Lele here.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, y'all. And we are just going to listen and hear her story with her incarcerated loved one. And she's going to share a little bit about him, how they met, and all those things. So can you just kind of maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and tell us about your husband, Rashawn?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having me. Yes, so my husband and I met a few years ago, actually, prior to his incarceration. We actually worked together. I was managing a bar and he applied to work weekends. So, you know, we had started working together. We became great friends. We both moved to North Carolina around the same time, you know, just to kind of start over. We were both in long-term relationships, so it was strictly friendship at that time. But, you know, we grew very close. We had so many similarities. You know, when this had happened to him, I remember sitting at my desk at work, and one of our mutual friends had sent me like a screenshot of the article, and I saw his face. It was like, you know, he's been arrested for first-degree murder, not just arrested, but for first-degree murder. And I felt like somebody had kicked me in the stomach. And I was just like, I can't breathe. Like, there's no way that he can do something like this. This is the nicest man, you know, he's so kind. He doesn't even like when I kill bugs, you know. So I had reached out to him. I wrote him a letter because the article was very vague. You know, usually when you see articles like that, they go in detail. They talk about the crime, the victim, and it was just extremely vague. It was like he was a person of interest and he was arrested for this crime. So I had wrote him, you know, and we eventually got back in contact, and I was just like, how can I help? I immediately thought, like, I need to help this man. I need to help my friend. Like, there's no way he did this. I know he's innocent. So we started talking. You know, it was strictly about the case at first. I had reached out to his public defender at the time, got the discovery, was more convicted after reading the discovery. Like, this is crazy. He's innocent. Like, they don't even have any evidence against him. No eyewitness testimony, no DNA or forensic evidence. You know, the incident was a shootout. essentially there was 18, 19 shell casings from, two groups of people shooting at one another. The so-called victims in the crime, they were gang members, a rap sheet a mile long. I even posted on our Instagram page, they make music videos, brandishing guns, talking about killing people, living that type of lifestyle. And, Rashawn did not know any of them. He had a great job, a family, no criminal history. So it just baffled me that, he was the one that they were trying to pin this on. So we started talking, working on the case, and eventually we started talking every day and then several times a day. And we really just grew our friendship into this beautiful relationship. And I'd be lying if I said that I never had those feelings for him before, but I never acted on them because we were both ending things, in relationships that we had prior. But he's just such a kind person. And I found myself, going through my day to day, and every little thing that happened to me, I'm like, I want to tell Rashawn about it, or I want to ask his advice, or, we started talking every single day. And it grew from there. We knew that we wanted to be together. I made him a promise, and I'm like, I'm not going to abandon you during this. I will say that we were very confident that he was going to come home after his trial because, again, the trial was a shit show. They really didn't have anything on him. Unfortunately, trial did not go as planned. But, I remember he called me when he finally got to prison, and he was like, I'm surprised you picked up the phone. I'm surprised that you're still here. And, it makes me cry even talking about it because it's like, of course I'm here. I'm not going to leave you. I didn't make you a promise and say I would be here until trial or until we exhaust the appeal, or 5 years, 10 years. I'm going to be with you until the end of this process because you don't deserve, what you're going through. But yeah, that's a little bit about our story and how we started our relationship. And it's been several years now. We've been together about 4 years, married for 2 almost. But yeah.
Wow, that's beautiful. I feel like you really, when you write to people like that and you only have like those phone calls and letters, it's a different connection that people, unless you've done it, you don't know what it's like and how well you just get to know someone fully.
Right.
I love your story.
I mean, that's true. You don't have any physical. I mean, in the county, there's no visits at all. Everything's done through like iWeb Visit and, different sites like that through the tablets. But yeah, I feel like when you take away the physical, you have nothing but the emotional connection. You're forced to have those uncomfortable conversations that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. You do get to know them on a deeper level, and there's really no distractions, like sex or, staying busy or things that you do in the physical when you're in a relationship with somebody to try to resolve problems without really resolving them. So I feel like communication is such a big key and a piece of why, our relationship grew because we did learn each other on a different level, and it continues to grow every single day.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. And what you said about communication is so important and how we are able to really connect with our loved ones. And so I guess something else is, how do you like how has your relationship changed since he's been I mean, I know you kind of hit on that a little bit, but I know you were friends on the outside. And then obviously it grew to that. But has anything else changed since he's been incarcerated?
I mean, I think the relationship has matured. Early on, there's always the honeymoon stage, especially when he was in the county. We were very hopeful that he was coming home. We, made all of these plans. It's still so early in the relationship that, it's as honeymoon phase as it could be with him being in jail, I guess. But, after trial in North Carolina, you get life without parole for a first degree murder, so there's no date that you're coming home. You're sentenced to die in prison, essentially. So it just really changes things. I don't want to say that we're not still hopeful and we're not making plans, because we still are. You have to find those things to look forward to. But I feel like, it's brought out a lot of uncomfortable conversations, but it has also strengthened our bond, because, I have to reassure him I'm not going anywhere. It's very hard when it comes to the trust and the longevity of the relationship. He's unsure if I'm going to still be here. And, we're unsure if he's ever going to come home because of how long this process takes. But it just has really strengthened our bond to a deeper level. And just really, going through those emotional struggles. It's not very honeymoonish anymore. It's very hard. And, I was so happy to find a community like this of other people that go through the same thing, because if you don't go through the situation, you really don't understand how hard it is. It's an emotional toll on both parties, but especially, us out here as we're trying to hold everything down, be strong for them. Many women have children that they have to be strong for, and still be strong and show up for yourself. So,
kind of on that note, I wanted to ask, how did your family react when you were like, I'm romantically now interested in someone incarcerated, and do you have like a good support system with them?
Yeah, so I don't speak to everyone in my family, and that's been well before, this situation. But the family members that I am close to have been extremely supportive. I mean, my sister, she even met him before this, when we were living in the same town, working together, friends, so people knew of him, and everyone that I'm close to is very supportive. And, we're all praying that he comes home, fighting for his, release. But you just have to make sure that you surround yourself with people that are supportive. I mean, people will ask questions. A lot of people don't understand it. I feel like this situation has shown a lot of people in our circle that, bad things do happen to good people. Our justice system is not working the way that it's supposed to. I was even guilty of thinking that it did before this situation. And, you do get the people that are like, well, he wouldn't be there if he was innocent, or this wouldn't have gotten this far if he didn't do anything. And, you really just have to explain yourself as much as you want to, but tune out the negativity and, people that really just don't understand because they don't want to understand. So
yeah, you like pretty quickly can figure out who's just nosy or who is actually like curious and wants to learn more, Totally.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah. And here, we don't have like family visits. Do both of you, are you in California, or I know you live in Pennsylvania?
Yeah,
Paige.
my husband, we have them in California, not Gigi's husband's in Louisiana. They don't.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, in North Carolina, we have like in-person visits for an hour. So it's like hug, kiss, and goodbye. So,
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
No
Yeah.
exception?
But I try to see him every week.
No
What'd
exceptions?
you say? No, unless you live out of town. I think they give you 2 hours if you live out of state, or like 4 hours away. It's some weird rule. But
Is that
yeah.
just the North Carolina DOC? Like,
It is,
wow,
yeah.
that's, I used, when California was doing the whole like 2 hour visit thing, I was bitching about that, but that is just like, as soon as you sit down, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
It goes by very fast, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
There is so much need for reform when it comes to stuff like that. Like when I hear about all these other states and what they do, like it makes me like angry. I'm like, oh my gosh, like more people need to know about this.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. We don't have free phone calls either. Every message to and from is like 25 cents, which adds up,
Yeah.
So I'm like, when I budget for the month, I literally have on my spreadsheet, it's called jail bills. And it's way more than anything else because we put so much on the phone and texting and, of course, commissary, they charge so much. It's just a money scheme, unfortunately.
All money hungry. None of them want to help. It's so difficult. Does the North Carolina prison system have any kind of like counselor system? That was one thing we were talking about on the last episode. I'm so curious about every state and what they do when it comes to that.
So do you mean like for reentry or for, while they're incarcerated?
Yeah, so like for example, in California, like a counselor will be assigned to like 50 plus men. And that's like if you every year when you have like your stuff reviewed, you meet with them, and if you're transferring, you meet with them. They don't really do like counselor things, but that's their title.
Yeah, I don't know. They have like case managers. I guess that's what their job is, to handle all of their questions, transfers, programming, etc. I know they have for incarcerated individuals that are like mental health is what they call it. They are able to see like the on-site psych, but he's only been in prison about 2 years now, 2 years in September. So if there is anything like that, I'm not too sure. I think that would just fall under the case managers. But they honestly, it's so hard getting in touch with them, and I feel like they're, I don't know. He has a life without parole sentence, and I feel like they're more, keen to helping individuals that they know are coming home and giving them those opportunities and the jobs and, the classes, and his just kind of fall to the back burner because I find myself hounding his case managers all the time. And he writes several, request forms, and a lot of them go unanswered. So it is what it is. But.
So did you say every, was it manslaughter charge in North Carolina? Not manslaughter.
First degree murder, is like parole or death. I don't think they've sentenced anyone to death lately. I know there are still people on death row. They haven't had an execution in a while, but yeah,
that's
LWOP.
Crazy because you'd think that the way the times are and everything. I don't know what kind of government you guys have down there. Like even when it comes to like your governor, I don't know which way they lean, but you would think that that's like Louisiana the way.
Yeah. And I was going to say a lot of southern states are like that. If you have first degree, it's automatic LWOP or death penalty.
It's just crazy to me. It's like Rashawn never had any type of a criminal record. He's the type of person you want in the community. He works, he pays his taxes, he, helps anybody, he commands the room, his energy is contagious, he's so kind. And it's like, that's somebody that you lock them up and throw away the key. It doesn't make any sense, and I always tell him, I'm like, the worst thing that can come out of this is not the time apart. It's you losing those good qualities, you losing yourself because of this horrible situation. And I kind of feel like that's my job, as your wife, to make sure you remember who you are. You hold fast and true to those qualities that make you you, because it's so easy, for them to just get depressed and to just feel like it's over. There's a lot of people that say they're wrongfully convicted, unfortunately, and I'm sure many of them are, but there's a reason you hear about exonerations happening after 25, 30, 40 years. They're going to get some time out of you, and unfortunately, it takes a very long time. Rashawn's trial was 3 days. And now it's going to take years and years to undo this mistake for him to come home. So
I'm glad that I'm not glad that he went through what he did, but I'm glad that we're able to have you here and just bring voice to his crime and how crazy that is. Because I feel like people don't understand that that's how fast a decision can be made, and they can be like, yep, for life, bye. And it's not okay.
Yep. Yeah. It blows my mind. It's like you try not to replay the situation over and over in your head. I was there. I sat through his trial, And it was the most traumatic thing that I've ever experienced, to be honest. Just watching the despair in the person you love, in their face when they get that sentence, and it's like, why is this happening? And you try to find the silver linings. We talk all the time about maybe this is happening for a reason. Maybe, you're supposed to help people while you're away. Maybe you're supposed to be, a good example or mentor, and maybe it's not your time to come home yet, and I try to accept if I have to, give you up for a few more years, or, however long, so that you can be a blessing and help other people, then I need to accept that, because for whatever reason we're going through this right now, we don't understand why, but one day we will. And he's getting very involved. He's the faith leader. He does try to help and mentor, certain guys behind bars, but it still gets discouraging, even, getting involved the way he does, because you want to come home, you want to be with your family, and, you don't have that end date in sight. And then you're with a lot of other people that do, because they, took a plea deal, or, they're coming home, even though their rap sheet's a mile long, and he just gets so discouraged. He's like, I don't know what I did to deserve this. I've never been in trouble. So it's just one of those things that it messes with his mental, and you just have to really be there to uplift them and be strong for them, and be strong for yourself, because it's very hard for us as well.
Absolutely. Like, so hard. What do you think, as a prison wife, would you say is like the hardest thing that you think that you didn't think would be a thing that you'd have to deal with, but you are now?
I don't know. I think the hardest thing is, the North Carolina system. I just do not feel like he's safe, and I just want to keep my man safe. Like, I can do the time. I can do, the no physical intimacy, like I'll thug those things out, but just knowing that he's being mistreated in certain facilities. They're not being treated the way that they're supposed to. They're not, giving them the things they're supposed to. It's just knowing that he's going through that emotional and physical turmoil, and I can't do anything about it. That's the hardest thing for me, because I'm such like a protector and a nurturer, and I want to help in any way that I can. And really, your hands are tied, because they're property of the state. So there's really not much you can do aside from hounding, the officials and the warden. And I do so much of that. I feel like I'm on a blacklist anyway. But yeah, I would say that is extremely hard for me, because I just wish things would go smoothly, and they don't. And, he has to live there. That's his home. And if he's uncomfortable, I'm uncomfortable.
I relate to that so much. Just even like when it comes to like drugs and stuff in the prisons, and like the people they're around, it's like you can't be there to like be their bubble, you know?
Right, right. And then when the phone's cut off, I'm just like, oh my God, let me like worry all night
Yep.
until I hear from him in the
Yep. Even when
morning.
you know in your brain
But
it could be just something else and they'll call you as soon as they can. It's like, okay, but until then.
yeah,
Yeah, it's that
I do
lack.
so many wellness checks.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
what?
Oh, I was going to say, is that it's that lack of losing that essence of control that you had maybe in your relationships before, or the way it was before, and having to let go of that control is just, it's like you said, it's probably the hardest thing that you have to do, because 98% of our relationship is out of our control
Mhm.
when it's
Yeah,
when dealing with the DOC or the BOP, or like they make all the decisions for us and how we are able to communicate, love, spend time, or help them. It's just, it's one of the, I would say, I would agree with you on that. It's definitely the hardest thing I've had to learn in this relationship, for sure.
yeah.
One question I had about just especially hearing that you guys get 1 hour visits and limited phone calls, what is some of the things that you guys do to bring normalcy to your relationship?
So they have the tablets here in
Okay.
North Carolina, which I'm so thankful for, because he can call whenever he wants, not just on his rec hours. But, you just have to make the relationship comfortable for the both of you. You have to make it as though they're not in prison, right? You have to nurture it. So we have certain things we do. We call it like book club, where we read the same books and we talk about it. We'll play like word search games together. I know it sounds corny, but different games on the phone, or we'll talk about different things we saw in the news. So just fun stuff to lighten the mood. But we talk all the time. We're very blessed in that sense to be able to communicate. Because I know, like I said, I worry about my man all the time and if he's okay. So just checking in with one another. But you get used to it. At first, it was very hard. I'm not going to lie. After his trial, those first couple of months, we both were very, very depressed. And it was a very hard point in our lives, in our relationship, just trying to uplift one another or acting like fake happy, when talking to the other. But once you get past that and you stop trying to put a date on it and you just are like, okay, we're here, we're going to make this work. We have to be there for one another. We just try to make it as normal as possible. I know that sounds weird because it's really not normal, but it's very hard. But you just have to, find things that you like to do with one another.
Definitely. I agree with that so much.
I love that. I love that y'all read, because we do that too. I love that so much. It is.
Oh, we're big on I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry, Gigi.
Oh, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, we're big on those fantasy, vampire, book series, because first of all, they're so long and they're just so good. Why did I never read books like this? But that's our thing right now. So
that's awesome.
That's awesome. I love it.
What is one thing, I love asking prison wives this question. What's one thing that you wish that you could go back in time and tell yourself when you started this journey?
Well, if I could go back before this journey, I would just run away with my man, when we worked together. But
I hear you.
I don't know. I just feel like we were very uneducated when this happened because, neither one of us had gone through the court system. We really didn't know what to do. We just had so much confidence in the fact that he's innocent, justice will prevail. I feel like if I knew what I knew now, if I could go back in time, I would have fought way harder. I know that's the lawyer's job, but I would have done everything that I could do to prepare for this and to not just go off of the fact that, we know he's innocent, he's going to come home, because as we see, that didn't happen. Because that time was just a very hard blow for us. It was just a very, very hard time. Trial was hard. The months after was hard. So it gets easier, which sucks because they're still in prison. But if I could go back, I would have fought harder and not had hope in the justice system.
Definitely. I think it shows you a whole nother side of it that you never thought that you would have to even learn about. But it's now you just can't stop telling everyone about it once you learn about it, because it's this is crazy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Do you have any messages that you would share to maybe a prison wife just starting this journey that maybe is going through a similar situation like you? That's kind of something that Gigi and I can't really speak on because we weren't there for the trial and all of that. And I can't imagine how emotionally daunting that would be. What's one, word of advice that you would give?
I mean, just put your friendship first always. And, you have to be there for that person because they're going through a harder battle than you are. I know it may seem like it's the end of the world for us. And sometimes I have days where I feel like that, but it's even worse for them, and whether it is an LWOP sentence with no end date or, a lengthy sentence away from loved ones, just be there for them. Ask them if they're okay, listen to them. Communication is key. Rashawn and I are expert communicators now because, we've had to work on that. And it's, we're both the type of personality, we're fine. We're just going to handle it ourselves. We don't need anyone. And now it's we're so dependent on one another, just communicate with your loved one and, even when they act like they're okay, they're probably not. Just have those tough conversations and lean on a support group, such as other prison wives, friends, people that do understand and that are going to be there to support you emotionally, because it's very hard, but they're humans, they're hurting. They need people to talk to. They don't understand what's going on. Some of them are mistreated behind bars. They feel like they can't talk about it. Be that listening ear and always put your friendship over everything else.
Definitely. I love the way that you advocate for your husband. I've always loved that. I mean, for anyone who's just listening on audio, you can't see. She has a poster behind her that says "Justice for Rashawn Grant," and her advocacy goes beyond that for him. And I just have so much respect when I see other prison wives and women doing that, because I know where your heart is, and I just love
Yeah.
that we're able to help, give it a voice, and maybe just let everyone know what your Instagram name is so everyone can go give you a follow, and maybe even look into your case and talk about the petition and shed some more light.
Yeah.
I love
Absolutely. Well, surprisingly, it's Justice for Rashawn Grant is the Instagram, and the link in the bio has everything. His petition, other social media pages, so you can find everything there and read up on the case and his petition.
Great.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to?
I have one question.
Yeah.
How I know that you're well, I guess how has this journey changed you personally?
So it's really opened my eyes to the injustices that are done, of course, in my husband's situation, the wrongfully convicted, but also behind bars, right? A lot of people have the misconception that prisoners are being rehabilitated and they're preparing them for reentry. And if anything, they're coming out worse than when they went in, right? Because they're not being rehabilitated, they're being traumatized.
Mhm.
And, I'm not saying that there aren't wardens and people out there that do have the best interest at heart, but most of them don't. It's a money scheme. They want them to come back and come back. And, there's a reason why we have the highest incarceration rate. So it's really just made me passionate, not only in my husband's case, but in general. Prison reform is necessary, and we're not helping them. The prison system is not helping them. So it's up to us and our voice to really amplify what's going on. I've just learned so much in this journey. I've met so many people that have loved ones incarcerated. I try to reach out and network to other women and moms that, have loved ones incarcerated with Rashawn, and just, have little support groups and try to help them when things aren't running properly at the facility. So it's crazy to me how our system is and how blind I was to it before this situation.
Do you think you'll even, hopefully one day when Rashawn is released, because we're just speaking that into existence right now, do you think that
Yeah.
you would stay in this space and wanting to help advocate and bring awareness to cases like his?
Absolutely. And it's something that he's very passionate
Yeah, I
about
bet.
too. It's something that he wants to do long term when he comes home is, like public speaking, mentoring, just being an advocate for those that are behind bars, whether wrongfully convicted or not, because, there's really no rehabilitation going on back there. And someone like him who can see firsthand, there's a lot of change that needs to happen. And I know we can only speak for North Carolina, but I'm sure that it's everywhere as well. So
Definitely. I love that. That's great.
Mhm.
yeah.
Gigi, if you don't have anything, I don't know if maybe you had anything that you wanted to follow up on.
Well, I always want to ask our fun question when we get towards the end of our interview. Paige and I are big astrology buffs, and we just want to know what your sign is and what Rashawn's sign is.
I am a Virgo and he is a Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
The Virgo, the
Good
Virgo
little
makes sense.
mix.
The Virgo makes sense. I love
Yeah.
that. My Virgos are
Yeah.
organized people. Everyone I know that is a Virgo is organized, and everything is good to go.
Yeah. I have OCD really bad. Yeah.
I love a
Yeah.
Capricorn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's hardworking, loyal,
Mm-hmm.
trustworthy. So,
Totally.
match made in
That is
heaven.
perfect. That is perfect.
Yeah.
Great. Well, you have anything?
Do you? I was guess. Is there anything else that you wanted to add that we maybe didn't
Yeah,
ask
or you wanted
or
to
haven't
bring
covered?
light to, or
I we experienced our first time with Rashawn going to the
mm,
hole.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested to know if either of your spouses have ever gone through that and how that was for you before I tell you how it was for me. And I'm sure you can
my,
imagine how it was for
mine
me.
might be a little shorter just because so he has gone to the hole. None, not at all when we were together. It was prior.
Okay.
And I know that, they have limited communication, and the way that things are really rough. So I haven't had to deal with that, but I have already in my head had several scenarios play out where I have had to deal with it, and it is just terrifying. So I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Gigi?
I was gonna say it's kind of similar. Mike hasn't had any issues or write ups in, I want to say, almost probably over 20 years at this point. But when he first got there, obviously he was testing the waters. And I don't know if you've heard of Angola and Camp J or the dungeon. He was sent there once or twice, and he told me the story of it. And it's pretty bad. They shove you in a cell butt naked, and they feed you. They just put all the food together in a mush, and it's almost like
Oh
you're
my,
swine on a farm, and they just throw slop at you. Like I've heard it's pretty traumatizing. But like I said, we weren't together, so I didn't experience it with him.
that's so bad. Like, I am so against solitary
Hmm.
confinement. So, first of all, when Rashawn went to the hole, it was for like administrative hold or whatever that means. So, they tried to say that one of our visits, he had touched my butt, and they tried to say that we passed contraband, which I would
You
never do. Neither one of us use drugs. Like, I'm not passing him contraband,
would have to prove
whatever.
that.
So I really think it was like a disgruntled CO because they had made several comments to him about interracial relationships.
Mm,
So I guess since we're in the South, there's a lot of people that still don't like that in 2024, whatever. So they put him in the hole while they investigated the video to see if we passed contraband. Then they came back and said, "Oh, you didn't pass contraband, but he sexually assaulted you." I said, "I'm his wife. There's no sexual assault. Like, he really like grabbed my butt when he hugged me. That was it." So I think it was them saving face because there was no
yeah.
contraband exchange and they didn't want to say they were wrong. But he ended up doing 30 days for that, and it was brutal. I mean, all we could do was write letters. They were holding his mail, so I wouldn't get mail for like 5 or 6 days. And it made our relationship, stronger. It drew us closer, but it was a tough time because he was going through like mental
Of course.
turmoil, and he would just write me like, people are screaming all night. Instead of getting people with mental health problems the help they need, they just throw them in solitary confinement. So he's like, I can't sleep. There's no light in my room. Like, I really feel like I'm going crazy. And as a wife, I'm on the outside, like, ready to run through a brick wall. I'm like, how can I help? Because this is not okay. I'm calling every day, but it was rough. So, if you ever have to go through that, lean on your support system because it was the worst month of my life. And I don't ever want to go through that again.
I I can't imagine. Like you said, I'm very much against the death penalty. I'm sorry, the death penalty. My brain. I'm very much against. Well, yeah, I am against the death penalty, but I'm against solitary confinement, and I think that it's putting someone in a room the size that's smaller than a parking space when they need attention and help, especially like you think about the people that they most of the time throw in there, and yes, you are only making their mental worse. Like, how could you possibly be
Right.
making it better? Like, it's
Yeah.
used for all the wrong reasons. Like your husband's is a perfect example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was horrible.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, because I was gonna say Michael did 19 years of solitary confinement, because that's the way it was on death row in Louisiana. and it was 23-1 where they would be locked up in their cells 23 hours a day. And like the first time I actually like touched him, he jumped, like,
Oh my
because he had
God.
not had physical contact with people very often, and it's just it's something that no person should go through. It is a form, to me, it's a form of torture. And I understand the need to feel like you need to punish a wrong or correct a wrong behavior, but um it's he's doing a lot better because now things have changed. But in the beginning of our relationship, it was like that. And I will say that it was, you could see the physical trauma that he has experienced, just his reactions to things. And um just being treated, it's almost like it's very inhumane. And so when you're talking about this being like really hard, and I totally understand, I get it, because it's hard to see them like that. It's hard to see them experience those things and be so traumatized. And when you were talking about the yelling, my heart just broke, with the fact that he's hearing all these people suffering around him, and that's traumatic in
Mm-hmm.
itself. And to be all alone in a dark place by yourself, locked with a big door in front of you that you can't see out of, is it's nightmarish. And I'm so sorry that he had to go through that, because seeing my husband come out of that was traumatizing for me, and I know it was traumatizing for him to go through that. So I know that it's a rough, um it's something that shouldn't be used. I don't know why it's still used. It's been proven to be
Yep.
torturous and inhumane.
And
I
cause
just,
long-term
Yeah.
damage.
sorry, I don't mean to be on my soapbox. I just, um, I can't imagine what you went through. Going through that with him, experiencing that has got to be traumatic just for you as well. Not, we see the prison, the incarcerated individuals are traumatized, and they are extremely, but it also impacts us as prison wives as well. We experience that trauma with them. So
Um, let me
Yeah.
just
thank you for sharing that too.
drop 2 or 3 quick facts about the solitary confinement. That research proved that isolation causes severe and permanent brain damage to being in it. 50% of prison suicides occur while in solitary confinement. So think about all the people that they throw in there that are literally already at that point. So,
Mhm.
Right.
and 1 in 3 people incarcerated held in solitary confinement were found to have some type of mental illness. So it's just something that shouldn't even be able to be utilized and still is wrongfully today.
Yeah.
I'm off my soapbox now, so
Yeah.
a little passionate.
Not to end on a sad note, but
Yeah, right. I'm like, well,
now
I
I'm
know.
depressed. So every birthday, I like to just go big, go all out. So I have a book made for him. And the first year, the one I did, it was like a comic, not really comic, but his character looked like a comic in all of the pages, and it was like a love poem. And then the most recent one I did was a birthday book. So I reached out to like our family, his friends, people that he's close to, and they all left their own message,
Wow.
and whatever their favorite pictures of him were. So I included that one of him, and his son on his son's page. But yeah, I mean, you can have those books made on Canva, free
Okay.
prints. You can just edit it however you want and have it shipped to the facility if they allow, books to come from there. But every year I try to do one like that so he can have a picture book and, just messages from loved ones to just lift his spirits.
That's a
I
great
So
love
idea.
that.
I love that. I might have to steal that, honestly.
yeah, I mean, do
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I know he loves his book. He looks forward to it every year.
Makes me
So
happy.
yeah. I'm like, I'm going to do a prison wife scrapbook, with all of our awkward, photos from visit where I don't know how to pose and they look like
The
the
worst photos
worst
ever.
JC Penney photo shoot. Yeah. Like one day, we'll look at the scrapbook with our kids that maybe we'll have one
You
day.
will. Speak it.
Mhm.
You will.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the exact reason why Mike and I take those J.C. Penney photos, because I want to be able to say, like, when you come out, I want to be able to laugh at these.
Hmm.
Like, you know?
Yeah, one day when we have our wedding ceremony that we, actually can have with family and friends, we're gonna have a slideshow of all of these pictures. I don't care how awkward they are,
Yeah.
but
right. This is what we went through.
and it's like the same backdrop every time, you know.
I love that. Everyone go check out Lele's Instagram. She has a lot of really awesome, informative stuff. She posts really awesome, informative things. Beautiful photos of her and Rashawn together on her Instagram. So definitely check it out. Check out the petition, read up more, and show her some love and support from as a fellow prison wife. Thank you for talking with us.
Oh my God, Paige, guess what?
What?
Someone's calling.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Fred,
an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution.
All right, guys, Florida Fred is giving us a ring. That means it's time for our questions and speaky pipes from our listeners and our viewers. So we opened this up on Friday, and we asked that you guys send us a comment or send us a question. And I have several. Some of y'all end up in our DMs, which I absolutely adore and love. So I'm going to go into that right now. So number one, we have from I'm just going to say KY. I don't know her name, but she was on Instagram. She slid into our DMs. She said, "Thank you guys for all you do with the podcast. Just found you guys and it helped me a lot." She said, "It meant a lot to hear your stories so far, especially because this is all a first for me. The day that was the hardest for me in a while was the day I found you guys." Oh, I got chills. So she was having a really rough day. Oh my God. Like legitness.
I do too.
Legitness. She was having a rough day, and obviously she found us, thank goodness, and she sent us that. So thank you, KY.
I'm so glad you found us.
We love you. We're here for you. And I just reassured her that we were here for her always. So
yeah, if she's on Facebook, hop on over to our group.
Yeah, come join our group, Love with Them Walls. We have an amazing support group and a great group of women that are just, oh my God, I can't say enough about them. I've never been in a support group where I felt the love all the fucking way around.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm cussing and I probably shouldn't, but I can't emphasize it more than like, I just want to say, fuck, this is a great fucking group.
I know, like these are all people that like I want in my life for like ever. Like, you know what I mean? I've developed relationships with these people, and like these are really great people, and it's such an awesome thing because our group is so big that like, even when we do those calls and invite more people in and we meet new people, and it's just really awesome, and it's just a really caring group of ladies who give a shit about us, give a shit about their husbands, our husbands, and helping each other, and you really can't get anything more genuine.
Yeah. Hashtag copy that shit, because that's copy and paste, because that is, Paige said it all right there. So we love you guys, in love with them all. So come join us if you need support, if you need a great system or great group of people around you. All right, I'm not going to say this person's name just to protect their identity, but she sent us something yesterday, and it moved me because I know people are going to feel a certain type of way about this, but I just want you guys to open your mind a little bit and just listen to what she's saying. Okay, here we go. "I've typed and deleted over 10 times. I am employed at a prison and was able to connect with my boyfriend because of this. No, it's not ideal at all, but it's the beginning of our love story. I'm currently dealing with him being jealous, which is coming out in anger, which he has to internalize because of our situation. He can't say what he wants or react to the others who speak so crudely of me. I've offered to quit so he doesn't have to deal with the disrespect he's hearing. I don't want anything to get him upset enough to do anything to get more time or either of us in trouble. He says he doesn't want me to quit because he wants to see me as much as he can. It breaks my heart, and I feel no matter what I do, it's not enough. We love each other so much. I have no one to talk to about this because of our situation. I'm not sure if you've had others like this or situations that are similar. So I wanted to just put that out there and see if anybody, I mean, I don't know. I've never been in this situation, so I don't know, and I can't speak on it. My heart goes out to her because I feel like she's battling a lot in her brain to figure out what to do here. And whether how you feel about employed people meeting people incarcerated, I need you to kind of open your mind here because I know a lot of people that met their loved one incarcerated and they end up quitting, they end up leaving. And they have wonderful, beautiful relationships. Keep in mind, hey, people meet at the workplace. People fall in love at the workplace. Just keep that in mind. Whether you work at Kinko's, or I don't even think Kinko's is a thing anymore, but or you work at Starbucks, or whether you work in a prison. So if you are in this kind of situation or have been in this situation, can you comment below? Because I would love to
or
see.
message us because you probably don't want to.
That's true. Thank you. That's a good point, Paige. Thank you. Message us, slide into our DMs if you can, or email us prisonwifepod@gmail.com. Because I would love to help this woman. Obviously we're here for her, but
I want to
go ahead.
I just want to say before, I don't know what you were going to say. I feel like one thing though, unfortunate about her situation is that I don't think it will stop until she were to leave because, like that's unfortunately it's like, even if those people stop eventually, more people will start up, and like that's just like the environment and how it like goes there. So I think it's like something that they almost have to figure out with them, like what is your limit, or what, even is it worth seeing me every day for us to go through XYZ?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So if you have any insight, any help that you can offer, please slide into our DMs. All right. Next, we have a question from Chapters and Chains. What is a hidden talent that your loved one has discovered since being incarcerated?
That he's a phenomenal counselor.
Yeah.
But I already, knew that when we had started talking, and him being able to like get in depth with me and like, ask me questions. But, especially now that he's done all of his training and actively runs counseling sessions, like even sometimes when I have like blow ups, like he is more put together than I am, and like able to walk me through and tell me like, do this, or like, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah,
like he's really good at that. And I told him that I'm like, I hope that, no matter what, if you do get free one day, that you still, use that gift of talking and being able to help people through situations, which he will, if that were to ever happen, because he is so good at it.
Yeah. And I would say Mike's is art. He did not know that he was an artist before, and now he's a self-taught artist and he's an incredible artist. So that is his hidden talent, I would say.
Everyone comment below and tell us what your husband's hidden talent is.
Share. All right. I think that's all I have for the questions. Let's go ahead and get into our speaky pipe. Are we ready?
Yep.
All right, let me pull up my speaky pipe. Give me 1 second. And I had it. Of course, I had it, and then I'll lose it. Okay. All right. Here we go. Oh, I went to the wrong thing. Here we go. Sorry, wrong button.
Hello, Gigi and Paige. This is Addie. I wanted to talk about kind of how we celebrate our milestones and small victories along the way. So we, over the years, I created a lot of open win letters for things I knew he wanted to do. So he's able to open those when he completes something or when he is feeling a certain way. I think I probably created over like 100. I think he has like 40 left, maybe 30 or 40 left.
Wow.
I also tend to add a little bit more on his commissary, on on his books when he does something, just to kind of show him that I'm celebrating him. And in terms of the both of us, he is working on a little charm bracelet. I have not been able to see it yet. That has a lot of little mementos for the things that we've done over the years. And so I'm supposed to be getting that hopefully when he's getting ready to get out. Yeah, so those are just some ways that we kind of celebrate our small victories, our small milestones, and how we celebrate each other. I hope you ladies have a fantastic rest of the day.
Aw, I love that.
That is cute. The card thing, like the open one, I've done that before.
I love that.
It's cute.
Oh my gosh, what a great idea.
I wish Joseph could make me a charm bracelet. Like those sentimental gifts. Him and I were talking about this morning. I'm like, those things are so much more valuable to me than anything that, money could buy.
Absolutely. I told Michael his artwork to me that he did, and his letters are going to be the thing that if I was trying to evacuate for a hurricane, those are the things that I would bring with me because they're priceless and they're made from the heart, which is so, in this day and age, it's hard to find. So I love that.
Me too.
Thank you, Addie, for that call. We appreciate you dealing with my crying, whining ass last week about not having many speaky pipes. So thank you for speaky piping us. All right. Are we ready? Oh, shout out. Are we doing I know you want to give a shout out, Paige.
Yeah, let me give my shout out to Governor Newsom. Shout out. Thank you for, I know it's been a year of you implementing the new system in California. It's only at San Quentin, but I just don't want you to lose that motivation and keep spreading it throughout the other prisons. And, maybe look into getting, if electrical fences is what you need for LWAP, maybe we should get one so that they can participate in some of these things. Just an idea, but also shout out. So thanks. I won't bitch more. That's going to be a nice thing.
All right. And we have our meme of the week. Paige, what's our meme of the week?
I made it yesterday out of a moment of rage.
It was great. I didn't even realize what was happening. I was at Visit yesterday and I get out and I'm like, wow, like these are great. Like what's going on? I guess GTL's down.
GTL has been down. Everyone who has GTL knows that this past weekend it was down. I did it the weekend before too, or 2 weeks ago. It only happens on the weekends is what we all said. It's interesting how, you wait.
People want to talk.
Then, So I made this meme. It says, I can't wait to spend my Saturday off talking to my man. And GTL making a, you thought face.
You sure about that? You sure about that? I love that. That's one of my favorite memes.
And then I also this wasn't really a meme, but I just said use the like button as one punch.
Yes. Can we add JPay and Securus to that too, please?
I know that's what a few ladies said. And I was like, right now GTL is shining for sucking. So we got to give them the spotlight. When Securus drops the ball like that week after week, we will do it.
Okay.
On a global scale. Literally it was working for no states. So way to drop the ball.
Shame.
I had one thing I also wanted to say to that.
Okay.
This was my thought last night before I went to bed, and I was like, oh, I'm typing this down. I know it will never happen. But you know how some prisons, at least in California, they have IFCs, which is an inmate family council.
Yes, I've seen that.
Where they meet for like the statewide meetings. So they all go and like people that are like, within the prison high up go. So it's like a way of them getting heard. What if something like that existed for like all of the DOCs where like, and then there was like, they all met and like shit could change. Like that, like I understand that would be pretty impossible for all of the DOCs, but even like federal system for like them,
would be okay.
Like why doesn't something like that exist? Like, it should.
We have that, but it's like we had that. I don't know if they still do that here, where they had a family council but they they never listened. I mean, they would listen, but they weren't really listening. So, nothing ever really came about of that. So I don't even know if they still have it or not, but they did have it when I first started on this journey. So
I just thought it would be so cool because like for example, like whoever from California could come and like talk about family visits and stuff, and then all the other people from had to like be like, okay, can we propose like things like that are working in other states and
almost
stuff,
like a consultant to come share the information to each of the states. That would, in the federal system, that would be amazing,
right? I'm like, why does this not exist? I mean, I know because they don't. It's money, and they don't know. So I know that, but it's a fun idea.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, and it should happen. Come on, Cali people, bring it over here, please. Well, you guys, that comes to the end of our Potty Pod. We love you guys.
We do.
We thank you for being with us here, and we hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And
thanks for listening to our interview.
Yeah,
and we're
thank you,
going to
Lele.
probably start having some more.
Yeah, we're going to continue our series. We're hoping this can be like almost like a 6 to 8 week series of different stories coming to you. So we want to thank Lele for joining us and sharing her story. We loved it. And we can't thank you guys enough for all that y'all do. And y'all hit us up. We're here for you guys. So reach out. Love you so much.
Love you.
Have a great weekend. Back to school, bitches.
Don't remind me.
When does your little one go back to school? Just curious.
The end of this month.
Okay.
It's his first day of school.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we're back. Kids go back this week, so they'll be back tomorrow.
That's insane. Why do you guys do that?
Well, we get out really early. We get out like May 24th or something like that.
Do you like that?
I'm used to it because I've done it all my life.
So okay. I'm like, I don't know if I would like that.
We've never gone after Labor Day or anything like that. Like a lot of systems do.
Yeah, ours is like the 22nd, I think.
Yeah, but do you know the reason why we do that? Can I just share that a little tidbit?
Summer?
Yeah, because since the South was very agrarian, which means a lot of agricultural based industry, they needed people, they needed kids Daylight. To go out into the fields in the summertime and pick the harvest. So they ended school before Memorial Day to be able to do that. Yep.
It's giving child labor law issues.
It's giving a lot of problem issues there, but that's the reason. Yeah. That's the reason why we did it. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, at least I know now. Because before I'm like, what the
a little tidbit of information.
The more you know.
The more you know. Hey, I just want to tell you guys.
My shirt.
Sorry, on my.
No, we did that at the same time.
On my tit here, it says you are sunshine in human form.
I love that.
I just want to tell you guys that.
And mine says roses are red, Doritos are savory. The U.S. prison system is legalized slavery.
Yeah, boo. I love it.
Because it is.
And Doritos are savory.
Yep. Everything on my shirt is true.
It is. Hashtag big facts. All right, guys. We love you. Have a great weekend. Besitos. Hit us up. See you next week. Bye, guys.